I'm so thankful to have you all here this weekend. Yeah. Andy just took Shoken of her own volition, by the way. You know, she didn't go running and screaming into the night. So she's a formal student who says she's going to accomplish the way. So it's great to have her along for this journey. Yeah. Ozo was like, if you had talked to me first, I could have warned you what you were up against. We often talk about Buddha nature. We talk about Buddha nature as something we can define. We say, well, here's what it is. Here's what it means. Yeah. That's, at best, just an idea. All of this practice is really about dropping away the conditioned karmic mind and seeing what is directly, tasting it, experiencing it. But of course, there are definitely karmic circumstances that we have to work with even to begin to see it, right? Our perceptions are shaped by more than just our thoughts, although our thoughts are a very big part of it. They're conditioned by our very bodies and the circumstances we find ourselves in. I'm colorblind, so my eyes don't see the same colors that your eyes see. The world I perceive isn't the same as the world you see. But does that mean I see less? Does that mean I see differently? If my eyes don't register certain colors, do they cease to exist? If I've never seen the world as you do, can I still recognize the truth? These are traps that are sprung when we get caught up in the discursive mind. If we stop and sit and we look directly at what's there, the answers aren't difficult. It's as long as we don't start getting tangled up in the questions. Each of us carries the weight of our conditioning. Each of us carries our joys, our traumas, our assumptions. Each of us looks at an ever-vanishing point on the horizon, at that place that we call self. And it's located in some place that's very deep within and far away. And we see through this maze of all the filters of our storehouse consciousness, of our assumptions, of our judgments. The question becomes, how do we see beyond them? And more importantly, if we do see beyond them, what then? This isn't about escaping or transcending the conditions of our lives. It's about meeting them fully. Awakening is never somewhere else. It's not some perfected state that's free of struggling, free of suffering for that matter even. It's this very life just as it is. We often want to wait. We say, well, when conditions align or conspire correctly, then I'll practice. How does that work out? Yeah. We tell ourselves that when life settles down, when we have more time, when we feel more peaceful, then we'll sit, then we'll open up, then we'll be able to engage. I'll be okay when. Yeah. But that's a monkey talking. A monkey. The truth is, practice isn't about waiting for the right conditions. It's about finding the strength and the courage to just turn around and shine the light within, to step into the unknown, to leap into the unknown, to be present in the midst of uncertainty, to learn to embrace that uncertainty, to see through our stories and conditioning and meet this world with clarity and an open heart that contains everything, everything. If you find parts that you're looking to exclude, walk into that, examine that closely, and embrace it all the more. In the Shōyōroku, this is examined in the 72nd case. It's known as Chuyu's monkey. Attention! Kyōzan asked Chuyu, "What is the meaning of Buddha nature?" Chuyu replied, For your sake, I'll tell you a simile. There's a room with 6 windows, and in the middle is a monkey. A person outside calls, "Monkey! Monkey!" And the monkey responds. In like manner, when all 6 of the windows are called, they all respond. Kōan asked, "What about when the monkey sleeps?" Chuyu got down from his meditation cushion and grabbed him, saying, "Monkey! Monkey! You and I have finally just met." That's the case. Kōan was a prominent Chinese Zen master in the Tang dynasty, and he was closely associated with Seppo, who you've met in some of our cases, as well as Isan. And he's a key figure in the lineage that goes on to found one of the Zen schools called the Igyo school. I've talked about those in the past. We'll talk about them again during an upcoming class series, but suffice to say, different Zen schools had different methodologies for awakening. Yeah. Kōan's often depicted as deeply intuitive. He moves beyond this idea of conditioned thought or logic as a pointer, and he has profound but simple responses to questions about Zen. So you'll see Kōan pretty frequently in the Mumonkan in particular. And his interactions with teachers and students reveal a subtle attitude towards examining aspects of practice that can't be touched with words or ideas. And when he works in that way, he actually is able to embody the integration between life as an idea and practice as an idea, and both of them dissolve. We don't know much about Chuyu, aside from to say that he's an obscure Zen master from the same period, obviously, and he's known primarily through this encounter. We know that he's Kōan's Dharma uncle, so he was a disciple of Isan, and so he was part of the same lineage. And so we have here a student interacting with his Dharma uncle, kind of like when Sensei Bob comes to visit, right? You guys get to meet someone like that. And so Chuyu offers up a simple but penetrating image, a room with 6 windows and a monkey in the center. Where are these 6 windows? Some of you have already probably come, you say, well, it doesn't quite line up, but I'm guessing that there's some sensory alignment here. In the Yogacara school, you'd be right on, right? You have eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, but the Yogacara school adds as a 6th sense organ, mind. So it adds mind as another sense organ, which is brilliant. Yeah. Because we do use mind to tie together or kind of summarize what those sensory inputs are all calling in. The question is, who's the monkey? Although I ask this question as if it's some kind of surprise, but I have a feeling that many of you know who this monkey is, right? Monkeys are grasping mind. It's constantly scanning the horizon, constantly reacting, making meaning out of things that would be seemingly meaningless, and we do it really adeptly. We're very good at it. And we jump from one branch of thought to the next, always running around, swinging from trees, making a mess, pulling us from one place to the next. A sound arises, and the monkey turns. A sight appears, and the monkey follows. This monkey is a really eager fellow. And the monkey is convinced that the monkey's in charge. Many of you have met the monkey. This monkey feeds on recognition of that fact. He wants to know he's in charge, of safety. The monkey wants to know that its world and its worldview is protected, and validation. Monkey wants acknowledgement. But the monkey winds up shaping our experience with its interpretations and assumptions. The monkey comes to conclusions rapidly because the monkey's got something else to do all the time. Because those gates are wide open, and there's a lot of information in this big wide world, right? But is there something teleologically certain? Is this monkey working towards something? Or is this monkey really in control? Or is the monkey just responding, drawing inferences where there are none, making connections and conclusions? In a way, the monkey likes puzzles, right? Monkey loves puzzles. The monkey gets pretty adept. Some of our monkeys are very good at solving puzzles too, and connecting things together in a way that sometimes it's just tortured, causes a lot of suffering. But the question is, if the monkey is not in control, then what is? He goes on to ask an interesting question. He says, what about when the monkey is asleep? So in one way you would say that he has now come up with something, or an exception case, where the actual story or the simile that's being given to him by his Dharma uncle wouldn't line up. But that's kind of what monkeys do. But it's interesting that in looking at how the monkey assembles its worldview, it's very easy to see how the worldview can be deconstructed as well. This is what we do in Zen. We use words, concepts, ideas, logic, and constructs in such a way that we pile them up in this tenuous tower and then show it falls over under its own weight. What happens when you construct that commentary? What happens if you take a step back wide enough to see the whole thing in view at one time? The narrative begins to fade. The narrative begins to fade because it's impossible. We all hold contrary assumptions. We all hold some ideas that don't bode well when we compare them up against our other ideas. In the Zen school, we would say that's okay, that they're just ideas. That no idea is mutually exclusive of another idea, you just made it up. But if you're going to cling to it, like the monkey does, and you're going to say that he's building a very coherent way of life, then seeing that means there's something else behind it. But when our self-protective narratives fade into the background, does experience cease? Does reality vanish? If you touch a hot stove, do you pause to check in with the monkey before pulling your hand away? Yeah. If a gust of wind suddenly takes your breath in the cool air, do you need the monkey to tell you it's cold outside? No, there's a response. There's a response that comes before the thought, before the commentary. When the bird sings, you don't need the monkey to tell you, right, that you need to listen and hear it. But what role does it play when you're fully engaged, when you're so immersed in the activity that you forget yourself? Even when that monkey is asleep, or maybe even perhaps more so when that monkey is asleep, your awareness remains. Not only does it remain, it's truly present. Seeing happens, hearing happens, and there's nothing other than seeing and hearing. Life unfolds in full immediacy, without the monkey's interference, without some way of trying to shape it into some conscious understanding of what's in front of us. Instead, we actually just join the dance. Kyozan's questioning is not this present. It's a conceptual question, a hypothetical. And he's still operating in the realm of thought or mental constructs. And Chuyu grabs him and says, that's the monkey at work right there. You want to know how the monkey works? That's how the monkey works. Yeah? He's not explaining it. He's actually trying to cut through it and show him. Direct experience, beyond explanation, beyond metaphor. This is the heart of the koan. Chuyu isn't offering a theory. He's not coming up with some new conceptual framework. He's cutting through the intellectual approach that's often set forth by the monkey. We don't often think of our monkey as being an intellectual, but I promise you, many of your monkeys are. They like to dress up. Maybe have a cigar and glasses like Freud, Monkey gets excited about, oh, book, yes, this is great. Get in this. This will explain it for us. You see, monkeys dressed like Einstein, trying to come up with all the answers. You'll never find what's immediate or real there. Now, I'm not saying that there's no use of Freud or Einstein. They're certainly very useful. Yeah. If you're trying to see the protection mechanism of the ego, I would read Freud's work. You'll speak a lot to it. But if you want to experience it, you got to put the book away. Yeah. If you want to put a man on the moon, I would definitely look at Einstein's work. Perhaps more Newton. But if you're concerned about, if you're traveling very fast, how it's going to impact time and space, Einstein does it in a way that no one else could explain it. But if you want to know what it's like to actually walk, then you better set one foot out in front of yourself right here and right now. Ultimately, in that moment of contact, there is no question, there is no answer. Maybe Kyōzan thinks in this case he's engaging in an inquiry into the essence of Buddha nature, and he thinks he's going to appreciate it through some concrete example, using the metaphor of a monkey to explore the mind's habitual grasping. But ultimately, he actually comes in contact, he stumbles across truth when Chuyu actually comes down and shakes him. And for that split second, there's wonder. What happens next? This is the dynamic process of Zen realization, the cutting through abstraction, experiencing it now. Who are you when that monkey is asleep? Better yet, who are you when you can step back and see that you're not the monkey? You can watch the monkey's activity curiously. When you're not caught in your own explanations, when you're not making defenses, when you're not going through the endless loop of projections, transference, countertransference, and all the echoes into the different realms or different nens as you separate yourself from your lived activity through trying to torture it with a philosophical understanding. Chuyu chocks the monkey into speechlessness, and through that he breaks the narrative, and in that moment the grip that narrative holds is lost, and clarity emerges for a split second. When the windows are forgotten, the whole world shines through. There's no inside, there's no outside. And in that place we inherit the universe. That's the good and the bad news. All's included there. The news is that there's nothing that we're not possessed of. There's nothing outside. We're rich beyond our wildest dreams. Ooh, excited monkey. But we also inherit all of the suffering that we encounter as well. None of it is someone else's. And with it, we're responsible for transforming it all. But when you see clearly, you'll know you have the boundless resources to meet any of those challenges, any suffering you encounter. So the very important question is, and the one I'm putting to you this morning, do you know who you are? Don't ask the monkey, okay? He'll stand you in front of the mirror. He'll start dressing you up and start asking you to imitate him. When you move beyond that, who are you really?